Alrighty, so this is Diesel We the People News. Okay, I'm not giving legal advice. Just opinions, never legal advice. Do not take it as such, people. Alright? Now, that being said, I don't never look straight forward. I always look around to be able to protect myself by any means necessary. Alright, so this video consists of this man need your help. Okay? And it's for the benefit of all of us. This is one of the very rare cases that actually can change everything. Okay? Whether it's your tax lien on your property, your business's license, in general, the Sydney ordinances and all this kind of stuff. Because in a lot of ways, people, the bylaw, by their definition, the court's definition, right, in American jurisprudence, ordinance means member of corporation. Okay? But that's neither here nor there at this point in time, so excuse me. Let's proceed forward and see what he needs help on.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for being here. My name is Adam Berkey. I'm an ex-police officer here in Southern California, and I have some really incredible news for you. But first, if you're anything like me, certainly over the last couple of years, I've been feeling anxiety, even panic, sometimes depression, a whole lot of uncertainty, and just watching as our world seems to become more and more divided, and the level of corruption seems to just continue to keep being more and more exposed. And perhaps you're also, feeling helpless or wondering what to do. And I have an amazing idea, I think, that can really bring us all together. So I need to give you a little bit of backstory first. So after I got out of law enforcement, I ended up falling back on my experience in construction. And in 2017, I found myself in court and getting criminally prosecuted in what was disguised as a civil case, and ultimately being fined almost $1 million for allegedly not having a...
Now listen to that part. Criminal matter disguised as a civil matter.
Construction license, even though I was the licensee of a general contractor's license. It makes absolutely no sense, but nevertheless, it's true. So you're probably wondering, well, Adam, maybe the judge just made a mistake. Why don't you file an appeal? What does this have to do with us or anything? Just hear me out. So I filed an appeal, and the appellate court affirmed the trial court's ruling and said you're not being penalized, even though I have to pay this near $1 million fine. So after that, my license, the one they said I don't have, got suspended indefinitely, and I've not been able to work as a general contractor for over 5 years now. And as a result of that, they're now trying to steal my house because essentially they've handcuffed me, the government, and my state's unable to pay the mortgage. So I tried to seek a remedy in the California Supreme Court and the United States Supreme Court, and both of them refused to hear my case. So then I went to the United States District Court, and that court said it didn't have authority to hear my case. So if you're following me, where we're at right now is there is no court in California and no court in the United States. Now, again, if you're wondering, well, how is this good?
So sit and think about that, y'all. If you're trying to get remedy, and there's no court's going to listen to your case to give you remedy, then how, in fact, are you going to get remedy if there is no courts? Just a question.
News, like, and what does this have to do with us? Just a couple more seconds. So I fell back on my training and experience in law enforcement at that point, and I began basically a forensic investigation to go to all of the different branches of state and federal government and literally test the checks and balances and see if they actually worked. You know, they've been telling us we have all these checks and balances to ensure that there isn't a tyranny. Well, okay, if that's the case, then certainly the police department or the legislature or someone's going to step in here to stop this wholly unconstitutional and literally treasonous activity by these judges. So I went to 5 municipal police departments in Southern California, the county sheriff. I've been to the California Assembly and Senate, Governor Gavin Newsom's office, the Attorney General, Commission on Judicial Performance, FBI, U.S. Department of Justice. All of these officials and agencies have refused to fully, fairly, and impartially do an investigation or to intervene to stop this abuse. So what I did is I put all of this information on my website called thespiritoflaw.com. And you can go to the website and under, there's a tab for exhibits. You can go and see all of the exhibits for all of the documents that I've sent to all of these agencies. And there's a special category called Audible Exhibits, where you can listen to the calls that I made to the FBI and to all these different police departments and public officials and see my attempts at trying to get help and what this may be if you found yourself in a similar situation, or maybe you have already and didn't know how to handle it or what to do. So you can see all those documents there. Well, after going through all of these different state and federal agencies, there is nowhere else to go but back to the United States Supreme Court. It is the only constitutional court in the United States, so to speak, if we still have a constitution after all this. So last week, I filed a case in the court, and it is going to be going before Justice Thomas to make an emergency stay on the foreclosure proceedings that they're doing now on my house in attempts to steal that. What I wanted to do is not only just share this with you, but again, reach out to you, see if we can come together on this issue. And so if you feel like everyone has a right to earn a living and to put food on the table for their families, and if you feel like we have a right to not be excessively fined and cruelly and unusually punished, and if you feel like we have a right to have a fair and impartial court system to hear our cases and to peacefully adjudicate disputes that we have, then what I'd like to ask you to do is to send an email to the U.S. Supreme Court's Public Information Office. Their email address is pio@supremecourt.gov. And in the subject line, I'd like you to put, "Old Man Kant is dead." And I'm going to share what that's all about in just a second. But in the message box of your email, put, "Please take our case." And I say our case because this really is about all of us. It's not just about me. And the issues that are presented in this case, which are the results of my...
Which again, y'all, I talked about before, right? In a couple other videos. If one man Constitution's been violated by an officer, then all of our rights have been violated. Because if that officer thinks he can get by violating one man's rights, then that one officer thinks he can violate everybody's rights. So, yes, in fact, it does involve we the people.
Investigation over the last 5 years are issues that are in every single one of our cases, or in any future case that you may have if you end up in court someday. So it's really our case. And when I say our, I don't just mean the United States either, because the public policies of the United States affect everyone in the world. So please don't feel like if you receive this message that this doesn't apply to you. It absolutely does. If you read the complaint that I submitted to the court, you will see that there are issues in there that affect your life, whether you're in Brazil or the Philippines or Iran or Ukraine or even Russia, everywhere. we are all connected, and there is nothing separate from something that affects one of us, affects all of us. So, again, the court's website is PIO, or the court's email address is PIO@supremecourt.gov. And now I want to get to Old Man Kant is Dead. And what the significance of that is again, you may have different opinions about Justice Thomas than I do, and you're absolutely entitled to that. But when it comes to issues of this civic...
For me, I don't like him because he's more for the government than for the people. He was one of them that helped qualified immunity for agencies, cops, and judges, y'all. Just saying. Just that by itself, I don't like. But in most cases that he goes in, it's always more for the government, never for the people. That's my issue with him.
And a duty that judges have to do under the Constitution. They are not allowed to allow their politics or political beliefs to influence their decisions, because they have a mandatory duty to do or not do something as a result of taking an oath of office. So I want to give you just a little bit of background about Clarence Thomas, if you don't know about him. So when he was a young boy, he was abandoned by his father and ultimately was adopted or taken care of by his loving grandparents. And his grandfather was a very wise man that really had a heart of gold and wanted to put or instill some very profound wisdom in Clarence, even though he was very strict. And how this came about was he told Clarence that, in life you are certain to face extreme adversity, and you may have a time when you feel helpless and you don't know what to do, and maybe you've tried all of your options. And if that ever becomes the case, just know that Old Man Kant is dead. I helped bury him. And what he means by that is he was personifying the thoughts that we have in the form of a man named Kant. This old man that's always in our mind saying, oh, you're not good enough, you can't do it. And so he said, Old Man Kant is dead. Keep taking a step forward. Keep going, no matter how adverse the situation seems. Don't give up. And so that's what I've done. I haven't given up. I've gone to all of our state and federal government agents, and now I'm back in the Supreme Court, and my final step is to get your support as well, and for us to come together. This doesn't have to be about politics. This is about us as a humanity and going forward together, because divided, it's just not going to work. So please, if you believe in these issues and you believe we all have a right to earn a living and support ourselves and our family, and to not be punished excessively or cruelly, and to have courts that are fair and impartial, then please reach out and send this email to the court. And again, put in the subject matter, Old Man Kant is dead. And again, if you'd like to leave the court a message, you can also put your name and whatever in the email. Please actually do put your name, and be sure to tell the court, please take our case. Now, again, you can go to my website if you'd like to read the complaint. It's at thespiritoflaw.com. And again, all of the exhibits are there in the spirit of complete and full disclosure. So there is no funny business here about any games being played or pranks or any of that nonsense. I've literally devoted the last over 5 years of my life to bringing this truth to you, so that now we can expose all of these issues with integrity before the court, and we can talk about them, because there's some very deep issues that have been going unanswered clearly in our justice system and in our government for many, many, many years. And the time has come for us to put them out on the table, to come out of denial and to discuss them, and to be to become aware of them, to shine the light of truth upon them. So thank you so much for your support and for being a part of this. I know it's crazy times. I'm going through them myself, clearly. But I just feel so connected to you all. And I know that what seems like destruction is an opportunity for a very profound rebirth. And I'm just really grateful that I get to share this time with you. No matter what happens to my house or any of that stuff, I'm just very grateful. So please, let's use this opportunity to come together and shine the light of truth on this.
Alrighty, y'all. Now, this call him off YouTube channel, Winning Court. Okay. Now, if you guys must go check it out anyway, right? With Bill Henshaw, he is all about the Constitution. He knows more about the Constitution in his pinky than most of the United States people put together. He probably knows more about it than the Supreme Courts, because they've been going by statutes, rules, and regulations and ignoring the Constitution for how long now, y'all? So, he needs your help. And, you know, he's not asking for money or anything like that. He's asking for a little time to just put your little mark on there, right? And if it comes out that he gets this case, then you got the privilege of being one of the people that helped him push it through. And if it becomes a landmark case against these corrupt individuals in our courts and officers and all that, just know that, you know, you is part of the solution. Okay? At least this man right here is acting in honor, when the whole court system and lawyers and judges and all that is acting in bad faith and dishonor, and they should be disembarred. Okay? The last case he was in, the clerk denied it, and she didn't even have the authority to deny his case one time before. That being said, I would have just gone ahead and made a claim on that clerk. But that's me. Alright, this will be the People News. Bye, y'all.